Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Classic Arcade Repairs. I'm hanging out with my kitty cat, Mrs. Doodoo. Right? Getting ready to start on a Cloak and Dagger repair. And I just got the schematic out. I got the pinout printed off, because I got to make a harness for this. And I hope you can see this well, because I cannot see in my camera without my glasses, so I don't know how this is coming over. I'm just kind of checking out the schematic. There's the power input. And it's typical. It's typical Atari. It does have two boards, kind of like Star Wars main and AVG, without the soundboard, of course, but two full-size boards connected by an interconnect PCB. And the boards are called Master and Slave, which is probably would not be acceptable today. I know in computer jargon it's, it's computer jargon, but yeah, you know how things are today. Here we have our main, I'm going to call it main and auxiliary board. We have our main microprocessor, the main CPU board. That's all kind of straightforward. You got your 244 drivers and all of your interrupt signals and reset generation. And over here we have a little bit of decoding. And that looks like the interconnect with 244s driving to the other board maybe. Alright. Communication RAM. This is my first look at this schematic too, with you guys, so communication RAM. I wonder if that's RAM that kind of maybe DMAs over to the other board, who knows. Master program, main program, 4 ROMs, and a non-volatile RAM. Looks like 2816. It's a rewritable 2816. That's pretty clever, if that's what that is. Okay, here's our sync chain, working RAM, playfield RAM. Looks like the playfield RAM and the working RAM is a 6116. Your sync chain with the typical sync prom. It looks like a custom. Can't read it. Custom of some sort. Here we have playfield circuitry. We got some 157 muxes selecting from different sources and feeding into these 2532 EPROMs. And then those bits are being shifted by 194s. Pretty typical. Our motion object stuff, we probably got our adder circuitry right there, 83s, 273s, 174s, some 2101 RAM, and 2532 EPROMs holding the motion data. Yeah. Okay, all pretty standard, typical stuff. Motion object line buffers. Here's video. Is that video output or just color signals? Okay. Counters. Counters feeding RAM. That's just line buffer. Inputs. That's all switch inputs. RGB output. It's all typical audio. And this board set, this original conversion basically was used in converting Williams cabinets. And what they did, what it looks like they did, is they used the Williams soundboard to amplify the audio created by the main board. I'm just going to run it through the AR supply. But that looks like what they did, is they used the Williams soundboards just for amplification and delivering to the speakers. Or the speaker. Pretty clever how Atari convinced people, hey, let's get rid of these Williams games. Cutthroat. And then we get on to the auxiliary side of things, and it's all the same kind of stuff. Got microprocessors, RAM, all that kind of stuff. Sync chain, working RAM, communication RAM, interconnect. That's a 245, which connects the two boards basically. Bitmap, clock, bitmap. I think it's all like just the map of the whole screen map, I think is what that's getting at. You know, the entire screen RAM, screen setup. So this is kind of the video board, looks like. Yeah, and you got your yeah, whatchamacallits, your memory maps. And I do want to go back up to this, and it is a 6502 on the video, and it is a 6502 on the main. It's a couple 6502s. Pretty basic stuff, really. So I'm going to go ahead. I have to build up a harness for this thing. So I've got all the information printed off. We'll head out to the shop and put a harness to connect this board all together. All right, and it is all hooked up. Now I'm using the interconnects that I made for pole position that would not work for pole position, if you remember. If you've seen any of my pole position videos, especially my early ones, I made these connectors for pole position to lay the boards out like this, and it just would not work because pole position is just flaky like that. It's just the added capacitance or whatever it is through these cables caused it to not run. His pole position has all those customs on it and everything, and it's just all critical, very critical, I guess. And it just wouldn't run. But like Star Wars, I can lay them out like this, and it's no problem, because Star Wars doesn't have all those custom chips. Star Wars is actually an Atari board, as is Cloak and Dagger. So I'm thinking I should be able to use these without it having an issue. That's the hope anyway. Actually get some use out of these. But I got my harness all made. It was quite elaborate. I'm powering this off of a switching power supply. This board is a switching power supply. This board is powered off the AR. I got her all hooked up, and I've already fired it up and went through all the voltages, and I will let you know all the voltages are fine. I got my logic probe hooked up and ready to go, because this thing, when I did fire it up, did not do anything. So let's go ahead and fire it up again. And we're on. And let the monitor come up a little bit. And it really doesn't come up at all. This is all it does. Nothing. Nada. Not a thing. And if we take our probe and kind of probe around some signals and try to look at some signals. Let's look at, what is the clock on this thing? 37. This is a 6502, so 40. No reset. That's good. 39 is low all the time. 39 is supposed to be a clock, I think, that's produced by the CPU. And we have no clock. This is 37. It's low all the time. So yeah, there's no clock. If we look around, where is the crystal on this thing? Yeah, we can look up here. The crystal is missing. Yeah, and I did check it out, and that is a 10 megahertz crystal. So, yeah. Alright. I'm going to go ahead and stop, throw a 10 megahertz crystal in this thing, and we'll get back at it. Ain't going to do anything with no clock. Okay, we are hooked back up. 10 megahertz crystal in the board. And let's fire it up. True fire up together here. I have no idea what it's going to do. Hopefully it does something. Wouldn't it be cool if it just worked? What is that? Is that supposed to be doing that? Is that working? Is that right? Holy crap. How about that? Okay, I don't hear any sounds. I suppose this, I guess it just doesn't work like that with the AR. I'm not sure what's going on there. I don't have a soundboard for this, so if the sound doesn't work through the AR, I really don't know what to do about that. I can look into a little bit. I do have a Defender soundboard that I could maybe wire up. I don't know. I need to look into that. I need to find out what's going on with that. But this seems to work. It just, the crystal was missing off of it. I mean, it seems to do pretty good. It says free play. Let's try putting this thing into test. Doing a color test. Everything looks okay. It's going crazy. And it's actually playing sounds right now, I think, and I don't hear anything, so obviously that's not actually I think I need to hook this remember my speaker blew up, so let me hook the other speaker wires up and see if that changes things. Alright, I hit start, player one start, and the two audio outputs are right there. And with my noisy logic probe, I can tell that there is sound. I reset it. So I'm going to go ahead and hit one player start again. Now it's going. And this looks like the music. Is it going? I don't think it's running. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Come on. This logic probe's got a bad wire. Yeah, it's on free play again. Or it's on the track screen again. This thing is so... Let's try it again. Let me sit down and see if I can get a better look at it. You'll hear the logic probe going crazy when it's got the sound going. I'm going to go ahead and just restart the board. Okay. And free play. It should be, both audio channels should be just low. Damn this thing. Both low. Now I'll hit one player start. Alright, now it's actually playing. And come on. Come on. See it? When I can get a connection, you can almost hear the music through this. There we go. See, those are the sounds. Now there's no sound. Now it's going crazy with sound. So you can see there is audio on both channels. And I think we're back to a tracked. Nope. Yeah, there's sound. So you can see when that logic probe goes crazy, that's sound. Yeah. So, I don't know, I have to figure out a little bit about the workings of how this is working with the sound, you know. I don't know. Doesn't seem to be an AR thing. It looks an awful lot like it used the Defender soundboard. So I'll look into that and see if I can't rig something up. Alright, anyway, it's running, which is nice. I'll be back. Alright, I was sitting around here, you know, kind of messing around with this board set a little bit. I put a little bit longer and more malleable, easily more maneuverable interconnect on here. I just like this one better. So what I've noticed is this thing will flake out every now and again and the screen will go completely white. Let me see if I can get it to do it. Just kind of messing around a little bit. Blah, blah, blah. I know what it is. It's this guy right here. See that? It doesn't do it as much because I resat this. I removed this and I reset this RAM or this RAM. This is a 82S09 equivalent, and you know those are used as color palette RAMs. So whenever this thing is moved around a little bit, we just completely lose. Everything goes FF, and we get full-on brightness everywhere, every pixel. I will turn this off and remove this, and we'll look at this socket. Okay, and I got that thing removed, and if we take a little bit of a zoom in on this guy, number one, it just doesn't look very good, does it? And we kind of come down around, come over here, and look at this last pin, this last couple. That's the ground pin. This socket needs to be replaced. I think I will go through and analyze every one of these sockets. Just look at them all and make sure, as long as the pins look like those, they could use a cleaning. But as long as they look like that, the socket will be okay. But the problem with these sockets is that happens. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to look at all of these. And it doesn't help that it's this kind of a chip with those thin, straight legs like that. So these other chips, especially these guys, these go down into these sockets just fine. As do all of these. It's just those type do not mix well with these sockets, especially if something like that happens and it gets, well, none of them are good if a pin gets pushed in. They have to be replaced if that's the case. I think what I might do is I might go ahead and just wash these boards because that looks nasty. It's hard to tell because this has a coating, this has a solder mask over the whole board, and it's kind of a yellowish. It's kind of nice that they actually solder masked this board. They did not solder mask this board. This one's just like a Star Wars or whatever, where it's just bare tinned trace everywhere. This one's actually solder masked. So we'll go ahead and I'm going to remove all the chips, and I'm going to, really take a good look under the microscope at all of these socket pins. And if any of them are pushed in, I'm going to replace those sockets. If not, I'm just going to clean the boards up, clean the sockets up, and it should be fine. All right. I'm going to check this thing for leaky capacitors too. And just kind of go over it like that a little bit of maintenance. All right, the Cloak and Dagger board set after a thorough cleaning. And the amount of dirt and nastiness that came off of that main board was unreal. It was just hidden dirt. This one wasn't so bad, but it was still dirty. But this one was filthy dirty. And it's super spick and span clean now. I'm going to let it dry. Just sprayed them down really good with the 91% alcohol. Let that evaporate off completely, and then I'm going to start looking at sockets and see how many we need to replace. So far it's only one, but I've only looked at one, so hopefully that's the only really bad one. We'll see. We'll be back. Oh, and another thing, since my Cloak and Dagger harness has tested out good, I went ahead and hot glued the edge connectors. Just encase them in hot glue so that they don't break. All right, I went ahead and analyzed both boards really well. I cleaned them up really good. They're nice and dry now. And I just got under the microscope and looked at all of the sockets, and this is the only one that's bad. And that one leg is actually cracked. The metal contact is cracked right at the roll on top where it rolls over. You can't see it like this, but yeah, it's cracked. So eventually, it's just going to fall off. So that definitely is getting replaced. I got the gun out and heating up. We'll replace that socket, put it back together, and then I got to look at the sound situation and find out how exactly this thing ran with sound. So I'll do a little bit of that research tonight. And tonight, the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to replace that socket, get them put back together, and then tomorrow I'll do some research tonight on the computer about the sound situation and how that actually works, and wire it up accordingly. So it looks like, I think I've said it a few times now, it just looks like they're using the original Williams soundboard. So, all right, let me remove and replace this socket, and I'll see you tomorrow, and we'll see where we're at. All right, we're all put back together, repopulated after a good cleaning. I replaced the one socket that needed to be replaced. Yeah, we're good to go. I do want to figure the sound out, so I'll research that like I said. And I'd actually like to pull this up on MAME, or I'll maybe see if I can just see it on YouTube, as I don't know what this game is even supposed to look like, to be honest. Okay. See you tomorrow. Okay, well, I believe I have completed my harness setup. According to this here, this is the Williams the Williams soundboard, and you got a couple 10K pots here, which the audio signals go into one of the sides of the pot, and then the wiper is picked off and goes down into the soundboard. The other side is ground, and then you have, typical Williams. You have your speaker out. So I got that right here, my Williams power supply. I had to wire a new power connector, and there's my two inputs and my input and output. Here's my two 1K or 10K pots. Yeah. So I will go ahead and put this on the tripod, and the only thing I can really do is just go through and test all of the inputs and the sounds. So we'll go ahead and do that. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and throw this thing into test, and I'm just going to be grounding out inputs and making sure they work. Switch test. Okay, that's all the sound test. Now I think game options. Can I just do a switch test, or is that the other? Was that the other menu? No idea. Yeah, I might have to go back into the other menu and restart, I think. We'll see if this, I can do a switch test here. Okay. Turning the volume down so I can do my switch test. Here's player 1, start. And you see that switch going from 0 to 1. That's that. Here's coin. Okay. That seems to be going from 1 to 0. That's kind of strange. It just operates differently, I guess. Here is player 1 fire. Yeah, that's that first one, if I can get it to do it again. Right there. Okay. Now we'll do, this is player 1 right stick. All the way at the end there. Okay, and here's the next one, yeah. And I forgot which one I'm on. There's one. Maybe this one. Yeah. Okay, there's all 4 of those, I think. Unless I got them wrong. Here's the other, here's the left stick. Okay, there's one. There's another. Here's another. And yet another. Cool. I guess that's it. Go ahead and put it. Okay. Coin up. Oh, it's on free play. Player 1 start. Don't know what's going on. I can't really play it at all. I don't have joysticks hooked up, so it's kind of jumpy, isn't it? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to turn it off. That might be because of this interconnect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the board set together with the little PCB interconnect and everything, and that'll probably clear up. So let me do that. Yeah, these boards connect via one of these things, a la pole position. So my guess is this will clear up that weirdness. Alright, we're back on. I'm going to kill the lights just for dramatic effect. And then I'll just hit player 1 start and let it run through. So eventually I'll have to finish my harness with putting some DB9 connectors on there so that I can plug Atari joysticks into it and actually play it a little bit. So we'll go ahead and I'll just hit player 1 start. And let it kind of roll through. And that flakiness will probably be gone now. Yeah, I was trying to press joystick presses around a little bit, but yeah, I can't play it like that. Pretty cool though. I mean, it's working good, so that's the important thing, is it's working good. All right, Cloak and Dagger. So I will purchase some more DB9 connectors to put on the ends of these two guys for the joystick. It's basically a Robotron joystick setup. You have fire with one stick and move with the other stick. There's our Williams power supply, or soundboard. Yeah, I even took the EEPROM out of it, but I don't think you have to do that. I know you don't have to do it because I had the EEPROM in it before. But, yeah. So I'm going to get my hot glue gun out. I'm going to glue up these open, these wire connections on this, cover those up. Yeah, that's it. Cloak and Dagger. Not too much wrong with this one. It's a nice clean up. I cleaned this thing up really good. Replaced this one socket. It had a crystal missing. That's pretty much it, really. Clean up. Couple missing part. Well, one missing part, a broken socket, causing flakiness. All right. Thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you on the next Classic Arcade Repair. If you have a Cloak and Dagger that is not working, I am now in the Cloak and Dagger business. We'll see you on the next one, and bye for now.